Hey Ringside crew. Welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther the Third.
Hello there, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And today, I have a young lady that works in a promotion that if you're not in the East Coast and you're not in the Pennsylvania area, you probably wouldn't be familiar with them. But the names of the people that have been there and the people who've trained there, it's just a place that you may need to know about. So introduce yourself to my internationally known audience.
Why, hello, and first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on. This is such a great honor. I've watched some of your podcasts, and it's really, you are outstanding. So thank you so much.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
Dawna. I am the commissioner of High Ground Pro Wrestling.
Awesome. High Grounds. Awesome. So, let's go back. What made you get into this crazy world of professional wrestling?
So my brother always had an interest in it, and he got into it. I started dating somebody who was in wrestling, and when the relationship dissolved, I did it to get under his skin, and it worked quite well.
Wow. So, who trained you back in the day when you first got into the business?
I was trained at the Wild Samoan Pro Wrestling Training Center when we were in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, by Alpha the Wild Samoan. I did have some, or he had some assistance with Jack Molson, and Samu was there a couple of times. Those were the primary.
Awesome. So, what was your energy like the first time you walked into the training facility and you saw Alpha? What was it like?
It was fine. I mean, I had previous interactions with Pops. So he's a human being. To be trained by him, completely different. Loved it. The energy was great. Internally, scared stiffless. Because you see Alpha, the Wild Samoan, you see Sika, the Wild Samoan, and they're just off the charts, and the knowledge and experience that they have is phenomenal. So when you're now learning from one of the masters of this business, you get kind of scared and nervous, and you're like, oh, please don't let me mess this up. Don't let me mess this up.
Awesome. So let's go a little bit further in. What was your energy like the first time you stepped through the curtain for your very first match?
Well, it's the same energy that I have now. First and foremost, it does not matter how many times I use the facilities. My nerves get to me, and it gets to me through the fact that I have to use the facilities. So, you got to pee.
Yeah, oh God.
So that's what I always do. And even still to this day, that is what happens to me. My nerves come out that way. The minute that my hands touch the curtain, boom, I am on. I am belladonna through and through, and you don't want to mess with this bitch. Sorry. Hopefully.
Oh, you can curse. It's okay.
Gotta check,
Yeah, no.
So no, I go once I'm through that curtain. You get the belladonna strut, you get the belladonna attitude. It's all there.
Awesome. So now that you've been in the ring, you have all this experience, what does it feel like to now be the commissioner? Like, what does that feeling feel like now?
Well, okay, so let's go back in my archives. Okay,
Okay.
so WxW. I used to be the commissioner or assistant commissioner to Bill Apter.
Wow.
So, take away the assistant, take away phenomenal Bill Apter. It was great as a woman to get my hands on the business and do things the way that I want them done.
Mm, sounds that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome to be like a female commissioner. Like when you look through your roster right now in High Ground, who would you say is like the newest wrestler that you think that's gonna be like the
You
next?
don't e- you don't even have to Doran. My Doran
Mm,
is the next thing.
mm,
He is phenomenal. And if you have never seen Doran, you're missing out.
ooh,
Got the looks, got the moves. He's intense. But when you get to know him, which many people don't,
mm,
he is he's right up there.
awesome. So who is like next to Doran in the women's division? Who do you think is the youngest one on the roster of all the women's wrestlers? Who do you think is the she wolf over there, the top dog?
Well, I'll be honest with you right now with High Ground, we are trying to find our women wrestlers. Um, you know, they do say that there's been a change in the wrestling business since I was trained to now, and there has been. So we are actively out there looking and seeking some of the phenomenal and great, and I'm using the word phenomenal so much today. Um, all of this raw live talent that we have in the female division. So my scouts are out and we're looking. We've had Ashley, we've had Autumn Breeze, and they're great female wrestlers. Um, but I know that there's more out there. So if anybody is interested,
I
they
know
need.
quite a few. I know quite a few. I know, oh my gosh, I know Danny Moe would definitely
Okay.
fit right in with your roster. Currently PPW Women's Champion. Adina Steele definitely would fit in your roster.
hmm
And
We
there's so many more.
actually High Ground did do a benefit show for her when she broke her collarbone. Her
I
and
feel so bad. Ugh.
Philly Mike.
Yes, there's so many like women's wrestlers. Oh my gosh, Journey Burke, another high rising female star in the Pennsylvania wrestling scene. She hasn't returned yet, but I heard she's returning sooner or later. She just had a baby. Everybody's
Good,
favorite. Well, what's that?
good for her.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And she came on the podcast last year. We had on what's oh my gosh. The water. She's like everybody loves her. She's because our character's like a watery character. I can't think of her name now, but when I later
Shelby
on
Waters.
what's that?
Shelby Waters.
Yes, Shelby Waters. Yep, yep. I love Shelby. Shelby Waters is
Yeah,
awesome.
we've had her at shows up until she found out she was expecting, and then and unfortunately that is the downside to wrestling as a female, is that guys don't have to worry about it. They can just continue right along their little merry little way. We have to stop, and we have to stop.
If you had to book a Queen of the Ring of the Keystone Queen of the Ring tournament right now, it could be women that were in the business and had to retire or retired and that are still in the business. And ones you know, who would
Ah,
you have in round one?
Tracy Brooks, Beth Phoenix, Gail Kim,
Mm,
uh, Velvet Sky.
mm.
I'm in my head and I'm thinking because there's been several. Um, yeah, those would be my top ones.
Okay. Out of the indie scene of Pennsylvania, who would be their opponents? Like, what female wrestlers you think offhand that you would put in there?
Well, take away childbearing. Autumn Breeze, Shelby Waters, Adina Steele. Those would be my top three. I'd have to think about the fourth.
Okay. I love. I would just sneak in Danny Moe in the middle of that somewhere.
You know what? For you, yes.
Because she's the neon nightmare. So it's Danny. I met her
There,
twice.
we need some bright lights.
We do. We need a little neon lights. I'm looking at them. I shouldn't be looking at them. They're looking at me. But yeah. So with this being East Coast Wrestling Month, and there's a lot of fans probably watching this in UK countries. If they want to watch any of the high ground product, do you guys have a YouTube channel?
We do. You have to look for it, but we do have it. We are on Facebook. There is the High Ground Pro Wrestling. We have a training center, and then we have the federation. Um, you know, Crow Ali is our junior heavyweight champion. He is very active on different forms of social media. We just had Shane Douglas in December. To go back to your question about phenomenal workers that we have, the dude.
I've been trying to talk to him about coming on this podcast because his name in the podcast name would be like perfectly hilarious, saying the dude in front of the dudes at Ringside.
Tell you what, I'll talk to him.
Because that'd be perfect.
But yeah.
Awesome. Is there any shows coming up in this month or in March that you want to announce before?
March 2nd, we do. That is our anniversary show. That is our 1-year anniversary show. Currently, I am in the process of trying to find Doran a tag team partner because he is going up against lard ass Jack Molson and his little buddy, for a lack of a better word, Andrew Anderson. So, yeah, Molson thought that he was going to try to get a quick, easy 1, 2, 3 pin on Doran, and he is so underestimating the man. So he called up and cried on Andrew's shoulder and, oh, I need your help. I've got this little guy, and Doran's not little. So he came out, found out that Doran is not some little walk in the park. Awesome. He's not somebody you want to meet in the backyard. So we have that coming up. The dude will be on. Fletcher Young, Tyrant will be there. I believe we're in the process of talking to TOP. And there's so many more. We have the Mask Mauler 1 and Mask Mauler 2. I'm sure that those bumbling idiots will be there. Oh, they're bumbling idiots. They are. And so many more. Like I said, we are absolutely working on the roster. We'll have Crow Ali there. The Sarge Cal Christopher will be making an appearance. So many of our regulars.
Awesome. Before we go, if there was any young fans of Dudes at Ringside that want to become professional wrestlers, what kind of advice would you give them?
Make sure that you are going to a respectable school. Please know that how one school teaches is not how all schools teach. And you will be able to pick up from anybody who has had years in the business and knows what they're talking about. You should be able to pick out certain qualities, certain traits, learn from those that are the vets in this business. including males or females, because sometimes the females know a lot more about the ins and the outs and the politics that go on, more so than the men, just because of how catty the business can be towards women's, how sexist it can be. Um, but make sure that where you're going, they're going to treat you right. Not just, here's my money, and then they forget about you. You want to make sure that they're treating you right. You want to make sure that they're incorporating and including you and touching base with you and making sure that you're learning everything and that you are getting the basics, because without the basics and the foundation of the business, you're never going to make it.
Awesome. Belladonna, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It really means a lot to me, because without awesome people like you, there would not be the future of the business that we have right now.
Well, I told you, High Ground, we are actively out there seeking. Right now, we are looking for ring announcers. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Backstage commentary, referees. You know, we are looking to take it a step above the rest. And that's what High Ground is. We take the old school wrestling and we incorporate new school.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm Joe Panther III.
I'm Belladonna, your commissioner of High Ground Pro Wrestling.
And we will catch you in the next one.